Welcome back everyone to the employee management series using MERN stack. This is the fourth video. In the third video, we implemented sidebar, dashboard, and also the navbar. We completed this step in the previous third video. In this fourth video, we would like to manage department. It means that we will add departments, display departments, edit and delete the departments. So we will do these CRUD operations on the department. In next videos, then we will move to the employees to manage employees. But this video is all about the departments. So what we need to do, let's come here to this was the project that we need to create. First of all, the design. Okay, first of all, we will just create this design and add a new department, and here we will just display a forum like this, and we will add a department. So let's do it. So just come here and let's create. So I will just close these files, and dashboard, I will close the dashboard. I will come to the department. Okay, the department, I have already created the department list, and now I will create a file for department or a department. That's okay. Let's move to department list and let's design it. Inside this we have h3 tag, and here I will write manage departments. Down from this div element, so we can display a filter input field for filter to search the data placeholder, search by department name, and down from this department we will have link. Okay, that is a link, so we can use React DOM link. So let's import it from React DOM. Let's use it now. 2 is equal to, so we will move to admin dashboard / add new department. Or we can simply say like add department. So here I will write add new department. Let's create this UI, this route. We will just create this route. Okay, let's move to app.jsx. And here previously we added these departments, so let's duplicate it. Shift Alt down arrow key to duplicate it, and here I will add Shift Alt add department. So element will be add department. That's okay. So we have imported that. So we can wrap these as private routes and role-based routes also for the security purpose, to first of all check the user and also the role, then we can access these. So our department, let's now just design this. Okay, so let's move first of all to the UI. So it looks like this. Let's design it. Let's just add here class name, text center, XL, or we can do XL font bold. These are Tailwind CSS classes, and padding X, class name padding X would be like 5, and padding Y 0.5 frame. And just come here, let's add class name to this, padding X 4, padding Y 1, pg tail 600. So it looks like this. Okay, that is okay. Let's just add class name padding would be like 5, and Alt Shift F to format the document, and just come here. What else we need to add? Class name around it and text white. So that is okay. So now whenever we press, let's add border to this input field. So whenever we press this add a new department, so we will move to add department. So now let's design a forum here. So let's just design we will have a div element. Inside that we will have h3 tag for add department. Down from that we will have a forum, and inside this forum what we need to have, we will have a div element. Inside that div label first of all for a name of the department. Okay, name, or we can just simply department name, department or dip name, and here I will write department name. Down from that we will have an input field text placeholder, enter department name, and let's create a div element label. This is per description or per reason. Okay, reason, sorry, description. Even if we change this to text area, that is better. Name, description. Button is for art department. Save that and let's check it. So it looks like this. I will just add the Tailwind CSS classes to design it. So I have added the Tailwind CSS classes and it looks like this. Okay, look at these are the Tailwind CSS classes. And let's check it. Okay, this is the result. So now whenever we write something in these input fields, so we will store that inside variables. So let's create state variables, or we can create an object, department, sit department. This is an object. Also here inside this we have department name, an empty string, and also department description. So let's now update it. Okay, so whenever we click on this input field and write something, we will use on change event and we will call handle change. We will call this handle change function. So let's copy and apply it on the description also. So now let's create the handle change function to manage these inputs. Const handle changes. So let's get const. We will destruct name and value from e.target. So after destructing, okay, so it will just, we will get name and value from e.target. It means that whenever we write, so it will trigger an event. So from that event we will just get the name and the value. So the name here is department name and here is description. Both are okay. So here we have description. Is this spelling okay with that name? These should be okay, same. Yeah, that is okay. So let's now we will update the object sit department, and let's update the object. So department, it means the previous video, comma, we will update the name, we will assign value to that. So if name was description, department name, so it will update department name. If the name was description, so it will update the description. So now whenever we press this submit button, add new department, add department, so we will call a function. So to call a function, for that, let's come here to the forum element, and here we will call unsubmit, okay, event, and call handle submit function. So let's now create the handle submit function. So it at prevent the default submission. You should write it always on the submit function. And after that, I will just now pass my data to the server side, okay, to add a new record to the database. So for that, let's change this function to asynchronous. And here I will use try catch block. If there was an error, so I will handle the error. If error dot response and error dot response dot data dot error, so alert the error. So instead of this, we will return data.success property from database. Okay, we didn't retrieve yet, so here we will write if not, the value we are returning that is false, so we will change that back to the not means to true. So we'll just alert the error. So here we will write our logic. So to pass data to the department to the server side, for that let's write const response is equal to with await keyword first of all. Then ArcGIS, we will use ArcGIS library dot post to post the data where we should post the data. So we will post data to http /localhost port number 5000 / after that API /department. We will just pass the data to the department, or yeah, /add. So after that, let's pass our data. Data is in department object. After that, we will pass our header. So inside the header, we will pass authorization. And here we will prefix the bearer with our token. We will pass our token also, okay, to check it for is it admin or not. And here I will pass the token. So to pass the token, for that, let's use backtick, because we cannot write object inside. So to write variable, so here I will write local storage dot get item token. So we will pass token also with this request. So after that, the response, whenever we receive the response, so let's now check it. That is okay. If response dot data dot success, it means if the success, the response success property was true, so what we need to do, we will move to back to the department list. So let's use navigate to move to the department list component. So let's create an instance of that. We will import this from React Router DOM. So it means that we will navigate back to the department list component. So just come here, and here I will navigate admin dashboard /departments. That's it. Now let's move to the server side to add this data to the database. So for the server side, let's move first of all to the routes. We will create a route for a department. Come here to the route folder. If we don't have any route for department, right click and add a new file. We will name it department.js. Inside this, now let's import first of all express. Create instance of router. Const router is equal to express.router. After that, router dot post method, we will receive post method /add. And here we will call auth middleware. So let's import the auth middleware. middleware slash auth middleware.js. So first of all, we will verify the user. Then we will call a function inside the controller. So right now we didn't create the controller. Let's create controller also for department. Right click on the controller folder, add a new file, and we will name it department controller. And inside this department controller, I will create a function const add department. Receive request and response here. So let's export it now. That's it. Now let's import it back inside the department route. Add department. So we have we should import this from server side. So let's import it manually. So one thing I should mention, if the exported, okay, whenever we export something like, let's come here back to the department controller. So here we imported just the name. If we write export default add department, so then whenever we are importing, we don't need these curly braces. But if you just export that without default, so then we should write these curly braces. Add department. So let's export it now like this. Okay, export default router. That's it. Now we can import this. These are named export and import. Okay, but this router we can change. I can change the name of this router because we can default export just one function in a file. So let's import now it inside this route inside the server file index.js. So let's import that as we have imported this one. I will just name this to department router from department.js. That's it. Now let's use it. So API department slash department, just department. In here I will add department router. So whenever we request for supporting request, so it will check API department, then it will move to this department router. It means to the department controller department route here, and it will check the add, that is okay. Then it will call auth middleware. After calling auth middleware, it will verify the user. If the user was okay, so then it will call add department to add the department to the database. So let's move now to the department. Okay, add department controller to add receive the data. Come here to the department controller, and here we will just insert the card to the database. So here let's change it to asynchronous function. Let's wrap our code through try catch block. If there was an error, so then we will return response dot status 500.json success false and error server error in department at department server error. That's it. So here let's first of all distract the value from request.body. So const, first of all we will distract the values which was department name and description is equal to request.body. So after that we will insert data to the database. So let's do it const new department is equal to, so new department, we will create a new department. So let's import the department. Right now we don't have the department model, so first of all we need to just create department model. Okay, I forgot that. Let's move to the model and we will create department model. First of all import Mongo's const department schema So in the department schema, we need to add the name, department name. The type is string and it is required true. And what else we need to add is the description, type string, that is just optional, and created at type date and default date dot now. You can also add updated dated at const. We will create now department model is equal to mongos dot model, and to this model we will pass first of all the name of the model, which is department, and after that the schema, department schema. That's it. And now let's export it. That's it. So let's now import it inside the controller. Const new department is equal to new department. So we will pass the data, okay, the department name and description. If the department name was different, for example in model the department name is like something else, so then you should write first of all the model, the model name, after that this that you have distracted from request third party. For example here the department name is something like this, okay, dip name, so then I should write like this, dip name, like this. But now the names are same, equal in the here and there in the database, so I can write like this simply in shortcut way. So now let's save the department, okay, await new dip dot save, call this save, and we successfully save the department inside the database. Now let's return a response, status 200.json success true, and we can return the department also, department that we has added right now, that department. So that is okay. Let's check it once again. Add yeah, that's, let's try it. Let's also open MongoDB compass. Yeah, let's wait for the MongoDB compass and I will open it. So let's EMS, inside EMS we don't have the department collection right now, so let's try to create a new department. Departments, add new department, let's press this, okay. So the department name is IT, we can add the ID department, IT department. You can add the description also. Let's press the add department. So I think there is an error, so let's come here. Where is the error? We will just solve that. Failed to connect 5000 API department add, API department add. Let's check the add department, API department add. So here we don't have any error, that is okay. Department headers authorization, it says handle chain is not defined, so there is an error. So handle change is not defined to add department. So let's refresh it once again. Is there any error? So where is the error? Yeah, that the error is, I think this is crashed. Okay, so we will just return just refresh it. So let's fix this error. This is department.js. Okay, like this we should write. Now that is okay. Let's refresh it now. Yeah, that is okay. We open the admin dashboard. Now let's move to the department, add a new department, and here IT department. Let's move to the console. Whenever you are facing with error, move to console to check the error. So it means we successfully insert the record. Okay, there is no error. So let's check now our database. So no department. Let's refresh it now. Okay, let's just refresh it. Let's refresh database. So look at department has been added. Let's check it. Look at, we have the first record that we have inserted, IT department. Now let's switch these departments and display that on browser. So let's fetch the departments. Let's close the model and also the index and department list. In the department list we will display the models. Yeah, just come here, down from this div element. So down from this div element I will display the tables, the departments. So to display the departments, for that I will use data table, React data table component library that I have installed at the start of the first video. So that I will use that library of data table to display data inside that has built-in pagination and sort functionalities. So let's first of all import that. React data table component. For this data table component to use, we need to have the columns, specify the columns in the data. The data we can fetch from the database, but the columns, we should specify the columns. Okay, for the columns, I will create a separate component there. I will define the columns. Let's do it. Okay, for example, let's move to the utils folder. In the utils, I will create a file and I will name it department helpers. Department helper.jsx. And here I will create the columns. Const column is equal to, this is an array, and inside this array now I will define all the columns that we want in the department table. So let's create an object inside that. First of all, name property. So the name is what you want to display in the header of your table. So that is for first of all serial number, comma, down from that in the serial number I would like to display the property of serial number whenever I fetch from the database. It means the database column name, selector. So this is we will get a row dot serial number. What does this mean? Okay, this selector mean, this property mean the column name that you are fetching from the database. What is the name of column in database? So let's create this third object. Okay, the second object. In the second object, we would like to display the department name. Department name. So the department name in the database is dep name. Let's, for the third, we would like to display two buttons. Come here. So we would like to display these two buttons, edit and delete. These are not existed with us in the database. So what we need to do, we would like to create these buttons manually and display that inside this table. So how we can create? I will just name it right now, action. And here I will display the action, row.action. So action, later I will assign these two buttons. So I want now to display in the header these three columns. So Control B. Let's export it, these columns. Save that and let's import it now inside this. Let's use the data table. So here I will assign columns. So I will export the columns, look at, from the department helpers. I will assign columns to that. Now we have assigned the columns. So for the columns, we don't have the serial number in the database and also the action. How we can define the action? So now let's first of all fetch the data from database. Let's create. So to fetch the data from database, we will use effect. Whenever we come to this this component, we will use effect will run a render and we will fetch the data. Array dependency, it means just run at the start of the component whenever we run for the first time. And inside this, now let's create, now I will create a function, const fetch departments. Let's make it a synchronous function. Const response is equal to await access dot get http 5000 slash API slash department. That's okay, just department. So let's pass the header also. That's okay. And just come here down. F response dot data dot success. If the response was success, so then we will create a state variable and assign data to that. Let's assign data. So before assigning data to that, let's first of all create that. Okay, department set departments. I will assign null. So before assigning data to this department, we will create our data for this data table. So how we can create? Okay, so for that I will just create const a new variable data is equal to, I will use await for now response dot data dot departments that I am pitching from database departments. Okay, so I will, whenever I fetch data from the server, so I will name it departments in server. Departments dot map, I will use map function to go through all departments, and here department, and inside this map function now I will prepare my data. Okay, so how I can prepare data? So I will just show to you. So let's create an object. First of all, we need the ID of the department. So let's ID. So for the ID, I will assign dip.id that I am returning from database. The name of ID is /id. Then we need serial number. So for the serial number, we don't have serial number in the database. We have ID. The ID is a long characters that we don't need that to display. So instead of that, we will display serial number. So let's create a variable const serial number is equal to 1. Let, okay, we will just make it let serial number is equal to 1. So here I will display serial number plus plus. So it will just change the serial number one by one. And after that, we need to display the name. So for the name, I will just dip name department dot department name, like this for the department name. Now for action. So for action, what we need to do, I will return for action 2 buttons, edit button and also the delete button. So for those buttons, again, I will create a component inside the helper to return those functions, those buttons. Const department buttons Let's export it. Look at, we have department buttons component and I have returned 2 buttons. So now let's assign these 2 buttons to this action. That's it. Okay, so after preparing your data to this data, now we will assign this data to this variable departments. So just come here, Alt Shift F to format the document. Where is the error? So yeah, catch, we don't have the catch block. That's it. Set departments, we will assign data to that. So, and if there was an error, so we will just check on F, sorry, as we did for the department. In the art department we handle the error, so I will handle the error here also. So down we will assign now to the data in the data table, we would like to assign the data also. Okay, so data is equal to with departments. That's it. Okay, now let's return the data from server side. Okay, so to return the data, let's call this function also in use effect. So let's now, we will call this API department and we will return the data from server side. Let's move first of all to the route, and here I will create a route, just simple, we don't need anything, just departments. Okay, the department, and this is git, and auth middleware, that's okay, and instead of this git departments, let's create this function git departments. Let's move to this controller and create that function. That's it. Okay, so now in this I will return the all the departments data. So const departments is equal to with department dot find, so let's use await dot find to return all the records. And what else we need? Let's now return the response. Okay, true and departments. I will return an error like this. Let's export it. We have imported that inside this route and we have used that here. Let's now check it, where if we faced any error, so then we will solve that. Come here to the AMS and departments, we faced with an error. Let's refresh it. So we faced with an error. The error is cannot hit properties of null reading length. Where is this problem? Yeah, where is the length? That is a React data table component error. So let's solve that. Let's come here to the department list. yeah, just come here, and here I will just first up all display. So let's write here, if that was in loading state, so we will display loading. So for the loading state, what we need to do, I will just add here fetch department, create a state variable, const department loading set department loading is equal to use state. By default that is false, and let's make it true whenever we come to this function. So I will call that and make it true, and I will false it at the finally block. So now let's check it. Okay, if department loading was true, okay, so then I will display div element loading. Else if that was not true, so then I will display the data. That's it. Save that. Let's check it now. Let's refresh it. So the length cannot read the properties of null. So yes, the data is null. Okay, that departments, this department is null. So instead of this, let's make it first of all an array. So that is in, there is no records. It means that we didn't fetch the error successfully. Okay, loading. So we faced with an error. There was an error. Return response.set of JSON success false git department. Response is not defined. Okay, yeah, we don't have here the request and response. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm not, we should not just come here to the department controller, and here we don't have request and response. That's why we were facing error. So let's move back to department. So look at, we displayed the first department. Okay, let's refresh it again. We have displayed the first department. So we have two buttons. Look at edit and delete. Now let's design these two buttons. Department list, and just come here, and here I will just add last name magenta 5. And to design the buttons, come here to the department helper, and here I will add a class name. Class name, padding X would be 4, and padding Y would be 1, or padding X3. And let's add here a class name, flex space X3, and here I will add background color BG. For the edit I will use tail 600, and for the delete BG read 500, text white, make it 600, text white. Paste it here, and let's check it now. So look at, we have these two buttons, edit and delete buttons. Now whenever we press this edit button, we should be able to edit this department. Okay, so we will move to the edit component. So for that we will pass ID to these buttons. So whenever we press this, so we will move to a new component. So let's first of all pass an ID to this department buttons. Let's move back to the department list, and here whenever we are preparing the data, so I will pass here the ID. So let's pass the ID, department ID. So I will just simply pass ID is equal to ID department /ID. That's it. So let's now distract ID there in the department buttons. So after distracting that, now whenever we click on this handle edit, I will just move to the editing department component. So let's call on click, and I will just create an arrow function, anonymous function, and I will call navigate. Okay, so let's create an instance of navigate. And here I will call navigate. Inside this navigate, I will move to /admin dashboard / I will move to the department / I will pass ID, so that the ID is like this ID. So now let's create this route admin dashboard department and ID. So let's move to app.jsx, and in the app.jsx I will create that. Okay, so just come here, instead of our department I will move to department /department/id. Okay, I will receive an ID, department/id. So here we will move to the edit component. So let's create a component by the name of edit to just call that department. Right click, edit component, edit department, or we can simply say edit.jsx, and here are AFCE. Save that and come here to the app.jsx, call that edit department. That's it. Save that and let's check it now. Let's press the edit button. So we directly move to the edit department, but the ID is undefined. So we should fix this issue why the ID is undefined. And department/ID, let's go back to the department. /ID, we have passed the ID from department list. Department./ID. Let's just alert the ID. So edit department, why the ID is undefined, I will just figure it out. Response departments.map dip. So let's console. Okay, let's console the data. So in the console, I will check the data, how the data looks like. Departments, that's okay, 0. And ID, that is okay. Okay, 0 department./ID. So let's change. Okay, I think let's change this name, department. That is undefined again. So the problem is that the spelling mistake. Look at, so here we should write the ID. I missed the I. That's it. Write it like this. Now let's go back and press the edit. So when we look at, we have the id. So now let's pitch the id. Okay, let's take the id and we will just have the forum. First of all, we will pitch the record based on this id, and then we will display that inside the forum. What we need to do, so let's move to the edit department. So let's first of all take the id, const id is equal to use forums. Okay, from react.dom, use forums will get you id from url. So after getting that, now let's fetch record based on this id. So to fetch record based on id, so for that we need to, as we have fetch records here, I will just write the code like this. Okay, something like this. Let's copy the whole code, then I will just edit this code. Okay, we don't need to write it from scratch, or let's just remove this code. Just remove this. Okay, if there was an error, just handle the error, but if we, instead of this, we will fetch record based on id. API slash department slash I will pass id. So to pass the id, for that let's simply use the backtick. I will pass id to the server side and I will get record. So after getting the record, so if everything was okay, so I will store the record somewhere. Const department set department use state assign null by default. So I will store the record inside this set department. So if everything was okay, call set department and pass response data dot department. I will return department from server side. So that is okay. So now let's use to display the data. Instead of this edit department, I will display the forum. So the forum, I will copy the forum data as we have created. Okay, as we were adding the data. Okay, so let's move to this one. So let's close the art department. Let's open this and I will copy this forum, because we want to create the same forum as we had in adding forum. We want to have name and description field and also an add button. Instead of this add button, I will edit department, and here I will write edit department, and here handle submit button function. Okay, that is okay. Department name. So here by default I will display the forum data that I want to edit. Okay, that data that I want to edit, I will display that data. So whenever, okay, look at, just come here, I will add the loading. So I think we have the loading. We don't have loading, so let's add that const by default false. That is okay. And come here, if div loading was true, so then return div loading, else return the data. So else display the data department.name. So here I will display value department.div name, and in the description I will display value is equal to department dot description. So we have this and we fetch the record. Let's just remove this handle submit function right now. I will add it later. So we fetch the first of all we will fetch record based on id, and we will store that inside the department. So let's fetch now the record. Let's move back to the department route, and here we will just add, instead of post we will change this to git first of all, and this is instead of id and auth middleware, and here this is edit department. We will create that inside the department controller /id. Let's create it inside the department controller. Yeah, edit department. Let's export it also. And we have imported that here, and we will get now the id from first of all, let's get the id. Okay, id. So try const id is equal to request dot params. So after distracting the id, now we will find department base and id, then we will return that. Const department is equal to await department dot find by id. id is equal to with this id that we have passed, and after that return the response. Look at, we will just return something like this. Yeah, instead of this, just department. Look at edit department function, and we found first of all the record. After finding the record, we have returned the record to the front end. If the record was not existed, get department server error. So we have exported that and we imported that here, and we use the route auth middleware edit department, and everything is okay. So let's check it. Okay, let's come here. I think we faced with an error, so let's edit. We faced with error. Let's check it. Where is the error? Let's move to the console. I will just take it reference error, handle change is not defined. Yeah, of course the handle change is not defined. So let's define that edit department, and let's copy the handle change function from our department edit component, and here I will paste the handle change function. Save that. Cannot be null, so let's change this to an empty array. So instead of null, let's change this to an empty array. So that is okay now, but we didn't receive that. We have the edit department, but we can see the names, okay, that we want to edit. So let's refresh it once. We can't display the data, so let's check it why we didn't fetch the data successfully. Low API department, then we passed the id, and we have id here, that is okay. Success response.data.department. I think there is an error somewhere. Let's console the data. Refresh that, and we didn't receive data. Yes, let's, in the server side, no error. Response.data, which department? So let's import access. So look at, the access was not imported, so right now we have the data in the description, the name in the description. So let's remove the console that we had here. So after, whenever we edit this, let's for example write database department. So whenever we press this edit department, we will save the record and we will move back to the department. So let's do it. Okay, so whenever we press that button, so we will call here on submit, handle submit function, call this function. Let's create this function now. Const handle submit is equal to, we will get an event e.prevent default. The process is same as we added a department here. Okay, whenever we press the submit button, we called here and we saved a record, so the process is same. I will copy this code. Instead of this, let's make it asynchronous function. So which area we should update instead of post? That is okay. Instead of post, we will use make it a put, because we are updating a record. And here instead of department, and we will change this to ID, we will pass the ID. So we have the ID. Let's pass our ID. This record we want to update. Use backtick. And department, we will pass the department data. Okay, this department, this one. So after passing the department, in the header we will pass the token. That is okay. If response data.success, move directly back to the departments. So now let's just implement the server side. Okay, we will just move to the server and we will implement this put functionality. Come here to the route. In the route, we will change this back. We will just simply change this to the put. Okay, ID, and we will, instead of this call a get department, we could change this to get department. Okay, let's change this to get department instead of, let's change that test. Yes, that is okay. Department. Okay, now let's create another function for updating department. Const update department. Let's now export it and let's import it inside the department route. Paste that here. So let's move to the update department to update the record. So to update the record, for that we need to find first of all the record, and we will update that record also. So just come here, first of all use try catch block, const read name, dip name and description, request.body, and also const id is equal to with request.params. Let's now update it. Const update department is equal to await department dot find by id and update. First of all, id is equal to with id comma, we will update the data. So we will just now update the department name. Dip name is equal to with the dip name and description with description. We can simply write like this, department name and description. So I hope it will work. So after that we will return the response. So status.success and return the date department and success get, this is a date department server error. So that is okay. Now let's check it. Okay, let's change this to database. A date department, so it means that we faced with an error. Let's check the error. Where is the error? Maybe that is server side error. No error. Object. Press department button. So nothing happened. Let's come here to the edit department. So in the edit department, on submit handle submit submit function, prevent default, that is okay. Const response access dot put localhost API department /id. I have passed the id, then department data, that is okay. Just come here. From here I received this data, edit department. I have console. No, there is no console. Let's refresh it once. So database, I think we have updated the data. Yes, we have updated the data, but the reason is that the problem is response.data.success and handle submit. App response.data.success, navigate to admin dashboard / departments. We don't have, I think, the navigate. Yes, the navigate is not defined here, so let's define that const. That is okay. So now let's check it. Database EO. Okay, look at database EO. We have updated that successfully. So this was the database updation that we have updated the record. So after the addition, now let's, whenever we press this delete button, we will delete a record. After deletion, then we will just change the setting, okay, the design of this header also, and also we will implement the filter functionality. So let's now to the delete. Let's move to the delete department list. Art department, we don't need art department, and department list. Yeah, department buttons. So let's move to the department buttons. So whenever we press this delete button, so we will just delete that record. So let's create here on click, we will call handle delete function. So let's create this function. So handle delete function, and let's pass ID also. So here we will now implement the deletion functionality. So for the deletion, we need to just use a try catch block, and also we will call the server side to delete this department. So for that, simply we will just copy this try catch block because the process is same, and just come here, implement that. Let's change this to asynchronous function, and I will XCS, instead of delete get, I will call delete, and here I will just use department and pass the ID. That is okay, the process is okay, department / ID. Here I will pass the token, that is okay if the data was success. So by the success, I need to filter the data. Okay, whenever I successfully delete the data, I should update my front end also. So to update the front end, for that I need to call a function on department list. It means that I will filter this data, filter this department's data. Okay, so for that I need to create a function here also, but before that, let's implement the other functionality. If there was an error, alert the error, that is okay. And department, that is okay if set department sponsor data. Instead of this, I will create, let's, a function here to filter the data. Const on delete on department, because if we don't filter the data, it will not automatically render on the front end, right? So we will pass ID also to this asynchronous, and here we will just filter the data. Const, simply we will apply the filter functionality. Const data is equal to, with await departments dot filter department dot ID was not equal to with this ID. Just filter those records, just okay, which the ID is not equal to with this ID that we have passed. And after that, call set departments and pass data to that. If we remove it, it is also okay. Set okay. Let's now pass this on department delete function to this helper function also. Okay, department buttons. So let's distract it on the helper component here. So after distracting that, I will call that here and I will pass the ID. That's it. This is the process. Now let's move to the server side to delete the record. Let's duplicate it. Instead of this, I will change this to delete. And here I will call delete department. Copy this and we will import it from our department controller and we will export it also. And let's create it now. Async. Here we will delete the record. So let's copy this code. Let's update the code. First of all, we will get ID from the params. After getting the ID, now let's delete the record. Let's remove this and await department dot find by ID and delete and pass the ID. So after deletion, let's return that. Okay. Response success to update department. It means that changes to delete department. Save that. Save that. Okay. So let's now try it. Refresh the data and let's press the delete. Before the deletion, let's add one thing else. Come here to the department helpers. So here I will add const confirm is equal to window dot confirm. Do you want to delete? Save that and here I will write if confirm. So then delete the record. Close that. Let's now check it. Now let's press the delete. Do you want to delete? If we press the delete cancel, nothing will happen. If we press the OK, so it should delete the record, but why it didn't reflect? So of course there will be an error. The error would be like access error, I think. Access.delete. Yeah, we don't have the access. So look at the delete, the record has been deleted successfully. So let's check it now. The departments, refresh it. There is no department. Let's add a new department like IT dip. So look at, we have added now. So now let's apply the filter. Let's add another one. Database D. Look at, we have two. Now let's filter based on department name. So to filter it, for that let's move to department list and come here to this input field. So I will call here on change a function filter departments. Filter departments. So now let's clear this function. Filter departments. So to filter the departments, so for the filtration, let's create const records is equal to departments. Okay, our department array that we have, let's just grab this departments dot filter, and here we will get a single department, and here we will write department. Let's come here down, department dot dip name, department name. We will filter based on department name dot to lowercase dot includes e.target dot value dot to lowercase. So this is the whole process to filter based on name. Department dot dip name dot to lowercase, change both of them to lowercase. That includes this text that we wrote in the input field. And after that, we will just now assign this filter records to a state variable. Let's create a separate state variable, const filtered departments, set filtered departments is equal to use state an empty array. So let's now call this set filter departments and pass records to that. So where const, this is const, that is okay now. So now let's use this filter departments, copy this filter departments, and in this instead of this departments assigning to data table, I will assign that filter departments. Save it. So let's check it now. There is no records, so let's do one thing else. By default, whenever we pitch records, so I will assign records to that set filter records also. I will assign this data to filter departments also, to this filter department state variable. So look at, we have that. So let's now IT, just IT, database, just IT, database. So this was the filter functionality. So it was all about the department management that we have completed, just adding, deleting, editing, and filtering. One thing else that we will add the pagination also. So let's add pagination. So for the pagination, come here to the data table, just add pagination. Simple like that. So now the pagination is enabled. We have just 2 records. One thing else, sort. Okay, to sort this data, for sorting we will just add sortable true. Just come here to the columns. So we will move to the columns, and here I will add I will sort based on department names. Sortable, I think that was sortable. That was something like this. Oh yeah, that is sortable. Look at, we can sort the data. It's simple like this. So it was all about the functionalities of department management, to add, to edit, to delete, to sort, to filter the data, pagination. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and also watch the previous and the next videos of employee management system to become a web developer and put this department project in your portfolio and your resume. Thanks for watching.